And finally, from Venezuela, Argentina's diplomatic mission has become more of a prison for 5 critics of Nicolas Maduro. They belong to opposition leader Maria Machado's party and had sought political asylum 9 months ago, fearing persecution. However, with Maduro claiming victory in the disputed July election and breaking ties with Argentina, the 5 asylum seekers remain under siege in Caracas. We'll bring you more about their plight and their fight against the Maduro regime.
This is the Argentine embassy in Caracas, a mansion in Venezuela, once a center of diplomacy, which has now become a refuge, more so a prison. When Nicolas Maduro proclaimed himself as the winner of July's disputed presidential election, he kicked out the Argentine ambassador of the building, breaking all ties with Buenos Aires.
Today they are rehearsing the first failed steps to destabilize Venezuela and to impose again a mantle of aggression and harm on Venezuela, a sort of Guaido 2.0 movie. But I say to the plotters, to those involved, and to those who endorse this operation against Venezuelan democracy, that we already know the movie. And this time, there will be no weakness.
Now, the compound has no diplomats inside, though it shelters 5 political asylum seekers, all of whom are team members of Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado. Notably, Machado remains in Venezuela despite the exile of her ally Edmundo Gonzalez, who ran against Maduro in July and later fled to Spain. The Argentine envoy's residence originally took in 4 men and 2 women in March who were accused of terror activities and treason for working with Machado. But last Friday, one of the 6 asylum seekers, Fernando Martinez Motola, turned himself to the Venezuelan Attorney General's office. Now, the remaining 5 who face persecution say they are under siege by Venezuelan security forces. Even though international law states that citizens granted political asylum by other nations should be allowed to leave their home country unharmed. In a recent virtual press conference, one of them, Omar Gonzalez, said he and other residents are under constant surveillance and being subjected to psychological torture.
The pressure from the government has been escalating in the last few weeks. Psychological torture. We are under constant surveillance, and nobody can visit us without authorization. The spiritual damage we are subject to is tremendous.
The group's decision to hold a media conference came amid tightening security measures imposed on the residents by Venezuelan authorities. In August, Brazil accepted Argentina's request to guard its embassy in Caracas after its envoy's expulsion. However, the Maduro government revoked Brazil's custody of the facility just a month later, alleging that the premises were being used to plan terrorist attacks and assassination attempts.
Asylums in Latin America have been very powerful and important in protecting the dissent. So we ask Brazil to have a much greater sense of urgency. In this sense, it means doubling efforts and coordination with the region and understanding that this situation can clearly get worse and therefore demands the attention of the entire region.
Then reports emerged that security forces have set up checkpoints on the streets to control who enters and leaves the embassy. Security forces have also taken control of surrounding buildings. Meanwhile, drones frequently fly over the compound, and Venezuelan police have threatened to break in many times. Last month, Venezuela's government-run power company cut off electricity to the building, forcing the residents to use generators to charge their phones. And there's no running water either when the power plant is off.
We are about to have 3 weeks without electricity. Anyone without power can have a hard time with electronic appliances and all that. But remember, we cannot leave this place. We have been locked up here for 9 months. We cannot go out to get water, medicine, or electricity somewhere. So this has been very tiring, especially at nights when they happen to show up armed and hooded, making noise, giving a feeling that they might come in.
Now, even though Edmundo Gonzalez has said that he will return to Venezuela and form a government as president in January, the 5 lives in the Argentine embassy in Caracas are desperate for freedom, with no sight of relief from Maduro's crackdown on his opposition.